power of sight, video, the power of sound. MTV Music Television.
MTV Music Television. You'll never look at music the same way again.
In the 1980s, MTV used to be the one-stop destination for everything music. MTV played music videos non-stop, 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. It was a channel that defined popular culture for several years and changed the music landscape forever. But today, you can argue that MTV has become a shadow of itself. A channel that was once dedicated to nothing but music is slowly being replaced by reality shows, and now MTV has become nothing but ridiculousness. So how did a channel that helped define popular culture for multiple decades go from being a cultural icon to irrelevancy? This video will take you down a nostalgic memory lane into the heyday of MTV, how it had a massive impact on the music industry and its struggle to survive through changing times. The very first broadcast that ever aired on MTV was just past midnight on August 1st, 1981. Footage of the space shuttle blasting off and the MTV flag on the moon marked the beginning of a new concept that would go on to revolutionize the music industry and become a culture-defining phenomenon. Although this wasn't obvious at first, as the broadcast was initially available only to a few households in New Jersey. However, to make it more iconic, the first music video ever aired on MTV was a Bugle's "Video Killed the Radio Star." In hindsight, the debut broadcast accurately predicted the massive success and enormous cultural influence that MTV would have on the music industry and entertainment. For starters, music videos existed long before MTV, but they just were not common. You either listened to music on the radio or attended a live concert to watch your favorite artist perform. But MTV revolutionized the medium and became a 24-hour platform for music videos, while also targeting teenagers and young adults as its ideal audience. In the beginning, there were only a few music videos available. MTV video jockeys often had to repeat all their inventory, which wasn't a lot, but the channel quickly grew in popularity due to its uniqueness and appeal to the target audience. MTV gained 2 million viewers within less than a year, while the frequently played music videos on the channel immediately noted an increase in record sales. All music played on MTV was provided for free by the record companies, as the record companies realized the huge potential of MTV to grow and reach viewers beyond their view. They started investing more in video production. By the mid-1980s, music videos had become an institutionalized part of the record business. However, the viewers' expectations continued to increase with every new music video released. Artists began to use sophisticated techniques to make the visual elements of the video as important as the music. Thus, a new standard was set for music video production. When Michael Jackson released his 14-minute short film Thriller, it further revolutionized the music video genre forever. This was followed by 2 other videos, Billie Jean and Beat It. By this time, looking good on MTV has become as important as sounding good when it comes to selling recordings. Therefore, the quality of music videos improved fairly rapidly to meet up with the expectations of the viewers. MTV debuted the Video Music Awards in 1984 to honor the groundbreaking works of musicians and directors. This became a coveted award and brought more relevance to the music industry and MTV itself. The concept behind MTV was simple: play nothing but music videos all day long, except for occasional breaks where video jockeys talked about topics relating to music, which wasn't always of interest to viewers. But there were not many options back in the 1980s, and there were no websites such as YouTube where you can easily skip a video if you didn't like it. If you are still watching this, it means you enjoy this video, so make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more good content. One of the questions you probably have watching this video right now is, when did MTV stop playing music? Well, it turned out that they began deviating from exclusive music video content not long after the channel launched. You see, MTV got the music videos they broadcast on their channel for free from recording companies, so they did not get paid for playing these videos. Instead, they relied on advertising revenues to keep them afloat. This means that if they want to make more money, they have to keep people watching their channel for a longer period of time. But there was one major problem. People had started to lose interest in the type of content that MTV was putting out. Imagine you had to sit around watching the television in the hope that the video you wanted would show up. Not fun, right? MTV was quick to notice this rapid change in the demand and interests of its youthful audience. Desperate to keep people watching, MTV gradually began to downplay music videos while inventing its own programs. One of the earliest programs outside of music videos on MTV was The Monkees. which first aired in 1985. The show follows the adventures of 4 young men trying to make a name for themselves as a rock and roll band. Then there was MTV Spring Break, which premiered live from Daytona Beach, Florida in 1986. The Week in Rock was added in 1987 to provide an in-depth report on news relating to the world of rock and roll music. There was Remote Control also in 1987, a trivia game show and perhaps the first original non-musical program on MTV. But generally MTV played it safe, as all these programs were lightly or heavily related to music. For instance, Yo! MTV Raps premiered in 1988 as a platform for hip-hop music in pop culture. It was a 2-hour program that introduced hip-hop to a global audience through rap videos, interviews with rappers, and live in-studio performances. Yo! MTV Raps was a huge success, and it initially aired from 1989 to 1995 with guest appearances by rap artists such as Special Ed, Big Daddy Kane, The Notorious B.I.G., Nas, Ice Cube, and Tupac, among others. It was one of the most innovative programs introduced by MTV that gave them a breakthrough in the early 1990s. But perhaps the biggest show that gave viewers a reason to stick around was The Real World, introduced in 1992. The Real World is one of the first reality television shows, and it centers around the life of a group of young adults living together and dealing with everyday struggles. The show was an instant hit that gave MTV a new identity. However, MTV continued to experiment with its content throughout the early 1990s, offering animated shows such as Liquid Television, which spawned Beavis and Butthead, and Celebrity Deathmatch later in the 1990s. Following the success of The Real World, the popularity of reality television shows continued to grow rapidly. Although MTV tried to sustain its original concept as a music-only channel, there was a growing demand for reality television shows. From 1995 to 2000, the number of music videos aired on MTV dropped 36.5%. So in 1996, MTV launched MTV2, a new channel dedicated to only music, just like the original channel. But even MTV2 couldn't keep up with only music content. During the early 2000s, MTV2 shifted its focus from music only to reality shows, gossip, and comedies, just like its parent channel. When MTV launched Total Request Live, or TRL, in September 1998, the show was a welcoming addition to the network that in recent years had lost its identity as a music channel. TRL was a daily top 10 countdown show that let fans vote for their favorite music videos to be played. The energy was always high since it was a live show with occasional celebrity guest appearances. Thousands of fans would usually show up at the venue in Times Square, New York, with the hope of catching a glimpse of their favorite celebrity walking into the studio. The music industry experienced another boom with TRL. Nevertheless, this would not last forever, as the show was cancelled in 2008. At the same time, music videos were getting featured less on MTV, as a number of hours significantly dropped from 8 hours per day in 2000 to only 3 hours per day in 2008. All that was left on MTV was several reality shows such as Pimp My Ride, MTV Cribs, My Super Sweet 16, Teen Mum, Catfish, Jackass, and Jersey Shore. Many of these shows would go on to run for only a few years before they were cancelled or replaced with new shows. It is safe to say that at this point in time, MTV was no longer a music channel. MTV admitted that the novelty of showing music videos had worn off, and there was a need to reinvent the network to a contemporary audience. After all, MTV is a business whose goal is to make money. Additionally, the internet brought with it all the proliferation of online music streaming services, which changed the way listeners interacted with music. Most people would rather listen to their music using their headphones or on their way to work, rather than sitting around watching the television. Then YouTube came along in 2005 and changed the music industry forever. Artists no longer needed to rely on channels like MTV. They could upload their videos directly to the YouTube platform for free and generate millions of views in a matter of days. On February 8, 2010, MTV subtly dropped the music television branding. This signified the end of an era when MTV reigned supreme as the #1 destination for music content. In 2011, MTV premiered Ridiculousness, a comedy clip show hosted by Rob Dyrdek, which had become a mainstay of the network ever since then. In June 2020, MTV aired Ridiculousness for 113 hours out of the network's entire 168-hour lineup. Many old fans still miss the days when all MTV played was music videos, but sadly, the days of MTV being a 24-hour platform for music videos are over. They tried to keep up with the changing times in the industry. What do you miss the most about the old MTV, and what show would you like to bring back if possible? Leave a comment below, and if you want to see more of these fascinating business stories, be sure to check out our other videos. Stay curious, stay engaged, because the journey is far from over. Until next time.